Happy Tuesday! I'm Tristan Winder in the News 2 streaming studio at the Morning Pulse here on this Tuesday, April 15th. We begin with an update on a bill dealing with regulation on medical marijuana here in the state of Nebraska. The legislature building the guardrails for the rollout of cannabis after 71% of voters approved it on a November election ballot. The Legislature General Affairs Committee now mulling an amendment that would keep cannabis flower, one of its most common forms, prohibited. It would also keep PTSD off the list of qualifying conditions. A group of veterans in the rotunda yesterday telling lawmakers that that's the wrong approach and that cannabis can help deal with the pain of war. The group Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana say that they cannot back the bill with that amendment.
It's very inhumane to not allow people the medical option to help them with their issues and their situations.
We will not concede to leaving people out, to making this more difficult for patients to access. The voters have spoken. We are going to honor and respect the voters, whether or not lawmakers want to or not.
The Legislature's General Affairs Committee will decide on Thursday of this week whether to vote the measure onto the floor. We'll continue coverage of this as the week progresses here at News 2. And sticking in the Nebraska Legislature, the idea of putting online sports gambling in front of Nebraska voters next November looks to be a risky bet for some state senators. That constitutional amendment advanced and passed the first round of debate yesterday, but it still faces an uphill battle. This was reported by the Nebraska Examiner, and the amendment would allow for licensed casino operators to offer sports gambling on their online platforms if voters approve in November of 2026. It advanced 27-16 on Monday afternoon, but at least one opponent already promised a fully fledged filibuster during the next debate. If that's the case, it would need 33 votes to get past a cloture vote. And moving into the Tri-Cities, investigators have launched a criminal investigation after a kill list started circulating on social media over the past weekend, allegedly made by a student at Grand Island Senior High School. Officers were made aware of the list over the past weekend, and it had 7 names, most of which were 16-year-olds on it. They spoke to the female student who allegedly created the list, and she denied creating it. It's not clear right now if that student will face charges. The school's principal releasing a statement saying in part, quote, GIPS has a strict policy on using threatening language, whether meant as a joke or real. Incidents of this manner will result in the automatic suspension and could end with a recommendation for being expelled for the students involved, end quote. We'll continue to keep you up to date here at News 2. Some farmers who grow soybeans are expressing concerns over the new tariffs between the U.S. and China. The U.S. is the second largest soybean producer in the world, only behind Brazil. Last year, China bought 51% of U.S. soybeans, adding up to $14 billion. A North Carolina farmer says that it's about to cost a lot more to produce soybeans in the nation.
Looking, down the road 6 months from now or whatnot, that inputs will be going up due to the tariffs. The potash is the main fertilizer used on beans will probably be changed. The price will be going up.
Dawson says that farmers buy their products at market value, and higher costs may ultimately be passed on to consumers. And around the nation today, Monday was the first day of Social Security Administration's new anti-fraud measures. Social Security is undergoing a massive overhaul led by the Department of Government Efficiency. The agency will also now conduct anti-fraud checks on all phone applications, and anyone flagged for possible fraud must verify that identity in person. The agency is also implementing a new policy that does not allow beneficiaries to change their direct deposit information via phone. And also happening today across the nation, it's the deadline to do your taxes. If you don't have them filed by the due date, the IRS will issue a 5% penalty for each month that you're late. If you file an extension by tonight, you will have until October 15th to file your taxes. You're still able to send your return to the IRS electronically or by mail. Lastly, honeybees give the U.S. honey, of course, and it's one of the most popular shelf-stable foods, among other things. But the insects are dying at a pretty alarming rate, both here in Nebraska and across the nation. The UNL Bee Lab educates new and experiment beekeepers on how to manage hives and what to look for when they die. They also play a pivotal role in researching honeybees' deaths across the Midwest. They say that if honeybees are dying, it's likely because of wild pollinators. And research also adds that, unfortunately, the funding for honeybee research is scarce. At the bee lab, they're paying out of pocket to research the death of the bees in the Midwest. Experts suggest planting your own pollinator garden to navigate plants and grasses to help with this. Additional steps can be found online as well to help with the concerning news about potential mass loss of honeybees across the Midwest and the nation. Running out the morning pulse here on this Tuesday, April 15th, with a check of the 7-day forecast. 70 degrees today, a little bit better than what we anticipated yesterday, and not as much breeze. Good sunshine for us today. Gets even better tomorrow, warming up at about 13 degrees. Back into seasonable temperatures for Thursday. Friday could be a little chilly. Chances of moisture. Can't rule out snow here for mid-April either. And then cooler temperatures for that upcoming Easter weekend.